All right, today I'm going to do a Elizabeth Morse Walsh. And this is actually a painting I saw at the Westlow House up in Massachusetts. I was there recently doing a book talk, and I'm just going to get a quick little sketch in here of the portrait, but I'm not going to get into the details and stuff. Figure why not give it a shot in watercolor. But the composition and the painting is just gorgeous. Every time I go in there, I see it, and I'm like, wow, who is this? And how did I not know about it for so long? So I'm gonna just see if I can sketch it in here really quick. A little bit of pencil. This is just a watercolor rag paper, I believe. I'll move that over. That's the water. But it's gonna give me the opportunity to really study the composition. That's a lot of what these are about. And notice I just moved it. I didn't lock into what I had. I'm just going to leave it, but I'm also going to see if I can get that to the top. So I'm kind of feeling through the painting and moving it. Go. Look at that beautiful blue she put right up through here. Look at that. Just coming right down here. And it just breaks over. I'm going to just erase it a little bit. Back up to the top. You know, when you state it, you can erase it to tone it down a little bit. Go back over it, especially if you didn't get it in the right spot. Just a little bit of drawing here if I lock in. Now, the palette on this is pretty simple. It's just looks like yellow and blue. So look at this decision to put the hand down, and then this coming down. Triangle there. And then this over. Gorgeous composition. Simple, yet amazing. And that yellow dress. Alright. Looks like it's calling to be painted. Alright. Just about ready. Take your time with the drawing too. There's no rush. You don't have to go at my speed. Because I don't know what my speed is until I'm ready to paint it. That feels pretty good. It doesn't have to be exact either. Alright, I think that's good enough. Alright, just going to get my Kolinsky sable brush here. And I got a lot of color on here from the past, so I'm going to just activate it. Let's get some of this. Maybe I'll state the darkest dark at the beginning. Just get a bunch of paint on here, see what I can salvage. And that's not going to be enough. That's the thing with watercolor paint too. One of the reasons why I really enjoy painting with paints out of the tube, because it allows you to add almost like impasto to get a little bit more opaque. Alright, now let's get a little yellow. Let's get a little bit of red. I'm going to clean that surface up. It's just too much. There we go. Now I'm going to just get in here and get into a nice... I'm not matching or anything. I'm just coming in and saying like this is the shape of the portrait right there. Don't worry about the light shadow. You can just block it for now. And now let's get in here. I'm going to clean. I'll make this the space. Clean this off. Let me get a little bit of yellow in here. This is Yellow Lake by Michael Harding. Michael Harding is the watercolors that I use most of the time. These days it's pretty much all I use. Let's just get in here. And, you know, it's wet right there, so I'm taking a risk. Put that in. And that's the shape of the yellow there. It's a nice drag, even in this, with the paper, which is what I really love about it. All right, and this comes down, this comes over here. All right, and then to get it lighter, I'm gonna just more water. Right, and that's just yellow out of the tube, so I'm going to get a touch of brown in there just to knock it down a little bit more water. Now this can even be done in oil. It almost looks like it could be like a Soroya or something like that. Feels like it shifts a little towards green. But the interesting thing about this is that it looks nice and vibrant now, and the beautiful thing about watercolor is that it will probably shift. Well, most likely, it almost always does. And I'm going to just push this over. And I'm going to just wash. I mean, one of the beautiful ways of working with watercolor is that you can cover a large area as a wash and then chop it up. So you work from large to small. But the tough thing about it is that you're preserving the white, which is extremely difficult to do. Like there's no getting back to white, but that's when, if you think outside of the box, there are many ways to do it. And it's kind of like that's the painting right there. So let's get back in here, get a little bit more skin tone. It's like I'm picking up a little orange there. Let that flow together. Get that down. And then as you're studying, you can see how much blue there is in this. It's wonderful. Let's get sky blue. Sky blue looks like it is, phthalo. Well, looks more like a cerulean. Let me get a little bit of ultra. Let's see what we got here. All right, get this. The cool thing about doing it this way too is, like, as you're taking your time to reload, you get a little bit of a break to reload and let the paint set a little bit, so it's not a wet into wet. All right, so I'm going to take Ultra, and I'm going to go over here. Let's take this and just clean this space. Back over here. And let this even just be a warm-up if you want. Look at that. To the subject. I mean, this is just a very first pass at, we used to do poster studies all the time at Water Street, and when we did that, it allowed us to warm up to the subject. It's your first go. It's not going to be perfect. It doesn't have to be. All right. And then let's get more pigment down here. Ooh, looks like it flung on there. Coming off the brush. It's actually all over everything. Let's just dab it. Now this is interesting because maybe that will lead to something like a new way of thinking, or maybe that adds something to the painting, or maybe it's just a hot mess. But don't freak out. Be open to maybe I'll learn something from it. All right, so gonna go back into the green. I'm gonna grab the transparent earth red, and I'm gonna get a little bit more color in here. Right in here, there's a shape. A little bit more blue in there. And then there's a beautiful, even Ultra. It feels like it just comes down there. All right. And then let's get a little back to the blue. The beautiful thing about this too is that in this quick little sketch, if I felt like I'm not sure if I nailed the color, I could, let's say you were trying to extract this for watercolor painting or something. You could, you could then go back in and say maybe it's that. It's maybe a little bit more towards green than it is towards right now blue, like a true blue. All right, let's get this, a little bit of this, and all of the flower. And it looks like a little purple up in here. All right. Let it dry up a little bit. I'm going to now go back in with a little bit of a red. And let's just hit this side. Get a little bit of water. And it just has to add a little bit of life over to that side. All right, and then the hands are red, a little towards red. And then there we go. All right, and now I'm going to go back into Ultra with transparent earth. See how kind of light this all is now? I'm going to just restate it. I'm not going to put her eyebrows and eyelashes and all that stuff. Doesn't have to be the perfect hair. It's just Look at that, and dry brushing it as well. In addition, we've got this. Which I think is a fan. All right, now let's get a little edge there. A little brown, orange, a little bit building it. All right, back to the Ultra. It's a beautiful kind of like right in there. And then a little purple. You know, and if you want to try to get a little bit of, let's see what I got here. I think this is Scarlet Lake. You can get goopy, like building up right over the top, like opaque. All right, let's get back in here. And if you want to get a little bit more variation, you can also lift. So, blot, pull it. Depending on the pigment too, is how deep it will have penetrated. You can kind of see if you can pull it. And then let's get a little this in. Now this is where, if you want to, I wouldn't say cheat, but I would say if you want to add some like gouache or something like that, you could absolutely do that. But the thing is, he's noticed the outlining right here of the hand. That's beautiful. Like, oh, you broke a rule. Why is there a line in there? You know? Don't tell anyone. This comes over. Correct this. Connect them. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. Look at just the design of it, though. All right, let's add a couple more things and just call it a day. So in the background, there's a bit of a blue that he's getting, or she's getting, sorry. Right there. Just like an edge. Just on the cast shadow. And this is, again, where if you wanted to, I guess you could call it cheating. Let me see if I can find, You can get a white. Let's see if I can find it. All right. Let's see. You can see if you can find a opaque white to go over the top of it. See if this will work. Sometimes you can just do like, this is Chinese white. We'll see if by adding it. There we go. You know, if you wanted to like come back in here and then just goop it on and then dry brush. I love textures as an element in painting. So I'm just going back in and dragging over the top. So, I mean, that's kind of it for what I would do. There we go. There we go. And just over here, just go almost black. Really hammers on the sense of light. Just dry brush. That's why I love Michael's paints. They're opaque. You know. See what happens when you add white to it. Ooh, it turns into almost like gouache. So, hey, maybe you want to turn it that way. Flip it a little bit towards gouache. Up to you. The difference between them is just chalk, typically, or clays that make it a little bit more opaque. A little bit more variety in there. Alright, well, that's about it for this one. And, you know, beautiful painting. I don't think I did it all that much of justice, but it's a good way to have studied it.